Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome to a full website building stream. Here's what I'm going to be working on today. I have a friend who lives in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He has a bread and wine shop over there. He tried building his own website in weeks. This is what it turned out to look like. Then he asked my help in fixing the design, but I didn't like the Wix editor that much, and so I've kind of convinced him to move over to Webflow. And today I'm going to take the website that he built there. It's kind of a multilingual website, both English and Spanish. Has a bunch of different pages. I'm going to use the CMS for building the menu for this wine shop. And yeah, I'm just going to rebuild this so I can have more control and fix some of the problems that I couldn't fix using the Wix. I'm going to make the navigation better. I'm going to make the forms, contact forms here much better. There's a form for MailChimp and then a contact form. And just fix up the design a little bit and then connect it to his domain. I assume this will take me about 2 hours, so it is right now 10:15 a.m. here in Israel. So I hope I can get this done before lunch, because when I'm going to be hungry, don't think I'll be able to concentrate. So I hope I will be done in 2 hours. This stream obviously is going to be live and available on YouTube later on. So if you can't watch this right now, you'll always be able to come back. I'm going to try to think out loud so you can see how I work in Webflow and how I think about structuring the website and also fixing the design. I won't be looking at comments right now, because if I will be engaged in the comments, I won't be able to concentrate and think about what I have to do. So I hope that as soon as I finish it, if there's a bit of time left and I'm not like crazy hungry, I'm going to be able to do some Q&A and answer some of your questions. So if you're not sure about why I build something in a certain way, you can either note it down and we'll talk about this later, or just leave it in the comments. I'll try to go over the comments later and perhaps answer them later on. So let's get down to work. I got a wine glass over here because I think it's like doesn't make any sense building a wine shop without drinking wine. It is 10 a.m. in the morning, but still always a good time to drink a little bit of wine. So let's get started. Let's just do a quick overview of what this website contains. So this is basically kind of the hero. It has like, I don't know how many navigations. There's home button here, there's languages buttons over here, social icons over here, and a bunch of other navigations, home again over here. Some of those are going to down this one pager, some of them take you to different pages. So I'm going to try to make this more organized. I've actually never built a multilingual website in Webflow, so this will be a challenge for me as well. So let's get started. Let's get started and see how we're going to build this. So I've got a new project here, a new Webflow project. I'm going to use the default kind of fonts within Webflow, and then if I have some time in the end, perhaps I'll look for a better fonts combination. But I see that he used kind of a serif font, so I'll try to stick to that. So let's start. I want to create kind of a full screen header like he did. So basically, I'm going to start by adding a section here. Well, everything works a bit slower, I guess, because of the stream. Hope this won't kind of take me too long. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Hero. And I'm going to give it a height of 100 vertical height. So this means it will take the whole screen. And now I'm going to add a background image. I'm going to upload it. I have the images right here. The cool thing about Webflow is that it's going to resize it automatically for for the mobile responsive images. So the images for the mobile won't have to be as big, even though it's just a 99K image. It's not that big, but it's going to resize it so the website will load faster. So edit the image. I want it to be covered because I don't want it to repeat, so I'm just going to click the cover here. That looks pretty good. And I think I'm going to add kind of a black overlay on top of it so the text will be clear. So that's super easy with a solid color here. Yeah, black, but this is a bit too much, so I'm going to lower it a little bit. This looks fine. Yeah, this looks fine. All right, so all right, the first thing that I want to do, I want to create the header, and I want the header to stay across the pages because here there's this header, but if you go to a different page, then you don't have full header, right? So this doesn't make sense. So fortunately, there's this there's already a preset of a component here that's called navbar. And I'll drag that inside. Well, this thing is like super slow because of the stream. Alright, so the navbar comes already with a background. I'm going to have to remove that. Let's add a style to edit it. Navbar. Alright. And basically, I think I can give, I think most of the texts here are white, so let's see if I want to add that style to the body so it will affect the whole website. Yeah. Well, I'm not so sure everything should be black. So, but let's just start with giving the navbar text color of white and see what that does. That did not affect the nav link, so I'm going to just give a color to the nav link. Not sure why this is not working. Let's call it nav link. Yeah, so now this works. All right. So I'm just gonna give this style to the rest of the links here so that the style will affect all of them. Oh, not just link. It's the wrong style here. All right. So let's see what links do I need basically. I want to do, instead of what do we do here and about us, I'm just going to merge that into a link that's called the shop. Oh, but wait, let me think, because I have to do 2 languages, I think that the main one will be Spanish. Oh, I see that I'm not on that. My account here is not the professional account. I'm going to have to do that on a different account. Let me close that off. I'm on a wrong Webflow account. So let me just reconnect to the right Webflow account so that I can do the website. That's my bad. I'm gonna have to send this over to my other Webflow account. Yep. I see. Alright, that's my bad. I'm gonna have to redo everything. Yeah. Because I was on a free account, the project was a bit limited. So I'm gonna do this on my new school team account, which is a pro account with like millions of websites, as you can see. So again, from scratch. And, so as I said, I'm going to start with the Spanish version and then add an English version to it. So because they're in Argentina, it makes sense that the default will be Spanish. So let's super quickly redo what I did, which was to add the hero and then a navbar onto it. As you can see, when I'm using the component of the navbar, the default component from Webflow, it already puts it inside of a container, which means it's not the full width of the website, but it's actually limited to, I think, 900 and something. Sometimes I don't like this functionality, but right now I don't care. I think it's okay. Alright, so what I wanted to do inside the pages, I think I'm going to open a new folder, which I'm going to call English. English. And inside I'll do the copies of the pages. So right now I'll do everything in Spanish. So I wanted the About Us to be called the shop. Not sure what's the right way to say this in Spanish. So let's see. Shop. Spanish. La tienda. Let's try that. My friend will be able to change that if he doesn't think that's that much of a good language. Anyway, I don't think that you should have like a home button in the home screen. It doesn't make any sense, so I'm not going to use that. All right, la tienda, and then we have degustaciones is wine tasting, so I'm just going to copy that from here. Well, it doesn't seem to work. Then we need menu, which is just menu normally, or you have to put some. Yeah. What else? We're missing events and then contacts. Contact. Events are called see. Próximos eventos. Let's write this. And then contact, it's contact. All right, so those are basically the links. Now the nice thing about this component is that on mobile, it will automatically make this kind of a hamburger menu, which then I can tell it to be white. Yeah, so this automatically has become a hamburger menu, but I want to add another link, but I don't want this to fold into the menu because I want the English link to be visible on mobile as well. So what I'm going to do is actually just add another link outside of the menu and just call this English. Because I want this to be super easy to find in case you are, on mobile. And obviously, I don't think that you need the Spanish on the Spanish website, so just English. And I'm going to give this a little bit of a different style. I'm going to call this English link. I'm going to tell it to be white and don't want the underline. Let's see, I want this to be on the other side. So perhaps I'm going to just do float, right? Let's see what that does. No. Here I can see the kind of the structure of the page. So let's see what happens if it was before that. Yeah, that puts it in the right place. So I'm going to style this in a minute, but first I want to go back to the home and just globally choose the font for the website. So I'm just going to add a style to body and choose some kind of serif font. Let's see what looks good. Yeah, probably Merriweather is probably good. Let's see if I'm going to stick to that or not. So I'm going to go with or perhaps Georgia. Let's see if he doesn't have many options to this font. And I think that the Merriweather has more options, right? No, also no. Right, I'm gonna go with this for now. It has a light, right? And I'm gonna see later on if I want to change the font. So the English, I want it again to look distinctive. I want it to look a bit different so that if you can't understand Spanish, you're gonna find this link super easy. Let's see what's here. It has 20 padding on all sides, so I'm gonna add here padding on both sides as well, just so it fits. Right. So this one I'm gonna make it bold, just so it stands out, and perhaps I'm gonna do it kind of like all caps. Yeah, I think this will make this easier to find. Is it easier to find? Is it distinctive enough? I'm actually not sure, but I'll leave this for later. Let's do the structure before we continue with this. Also, I'm thinking about why is it aligned to the right if I'm not going to use this logo thing, which I'm not going to use. Let's see how this looks here. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna remove this brand. I'm not gonna use this logo here. And perhaps if I just center this container, or let's see what elements are here. So if I just do the nav menu, now I'm gonna float it. Okay, so now it's actually, and I'm not gonna float this English one as well. So now it centers. I think it makes more sense centered here. I'm gonna remove the float from here as well. Oh, so because I want them to be at the same line, I'm gonna do inline block for all of them. I'll leave the nav menu. Okay, now change directions again. So I'm gonna do this. I wonder why it's getting some padding from here. I'm not sure why it's being pushed down. Let's see if I can clear. If I float it right. I don't float it right. Right, so this must be doing something to it, which I'm not sure why. But actually, you know what? This doesn't look bad when it's a bit distinct with the position, because it makes it more distinguishable. Yeah, so I think I'll stick to that for now. This one I'm going to float it to the right. Okay. So you see, I always work, desktop and mobile. I'm just checking it all the time. Yeah, this looks much better now. Okay, so I'm going to keep working on this from now on. I'm just going to do, because I'm working on if I'm working on the nav bar here, I'm going to do the hover situations already. So on hover, let's say it has kind of a perhaps 2-pixel white underline, white, perhaps even 4 pixels. And I'm gonna change here the bottom padding to make this closer. Yeah, so I think this looks nice. Let's see how this looks on preview. Yeah, this looks decent, but I want to add kind of an animation to it. So yeah, let's add here transitions to 50 to everything. Let's see how this looks like now. Oh, this looks nice. Oh, because I didn't change the padding on the I understand why this happens, because I didn't change the padding on the not hovered links. It changes, I think it animates it. I'm just going to change here to 10 as well, see what that does. Yeah, now it makes sense. Okay, so it's nice, I like that. Let's do something similar to the English. Because it's not the same style, I'm going to have to redo that because it's a different style. some reason the animation here didn't work. Let's see why it didn't work. Because it's animating the opacity right now. I'm gonna have to do transition everything, because what actually needs to be animating is actually the border. But for some reason it's not scrolling. It's super slow because of the stream, so I'm kind of annoyed by it, but I usually work much faster than this. All right, all properties. All right, so this works now. I'm actually going to turn the whole menu thing, the whole navbar thing, I'm going to turn this into a symbol so that I can use this later on all the pages. And if I make a change, then all the changes are going to be changed through the whole website. So let's see. It actually kind of recently changed the place for the symbols, which I'm not super sure where they moved it to. See what happens if I just right click, create a symbol, right? This is what I wanted. Navbar. Alright, so I have the navigation ready. I want to position the logo. Actually, I want to position it in the center, complete center. To do that, I'm going to have to give the hero a flex display block. Let's first add the image. I'm adding the logo as an SVG, so it will load up super quickly and be, scalable. Let's see where it is. Right. Whoa, it's obviously too big. 350. Maybe 300. Okay, this makes sense. So what I want to do, I'm gonna take the navbar out of the hero because I want this to be centered. So actually what I'm gonna do is tell the navbar to be kind of on top, or yeah, I'm gonna do that. Let's do that. Give it a Z index of 100, but I don't want it to stay up on the top, so I'm just gonna give the hero a little bit of negative top margin, and here it is. Again, the reason that I did this was because I want the hero to be flex and center the logo, and if I would do that, that would also affect the menu, and I don't want this to affect the menu. So here I'm just changing the display to flex, just changing this one and this one, but for some reason I'm not sure what happened, why the hero image is kind of cropped. What happened here? For some reason the hero is no longer like 100% width, which I'm not sure why. It should be 100%. Alright, so this is exactly what I wanted. I'm not sure why it changed. I'm gonna say the Z index of this is 0, so it will be below. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing the navbar at the moment. Let's see what happens if I pull this up. Okay, so now I figured it out. Since I've turned this into a flex display mode, I guess the negative heading didn't work out. Yeah. So now this is perfect. Sometimes it's, because I'm not a CSS master, sometimes I also don't really understand why things happen, but I just play around until it makes sense. So I think actually the hero now looks decent. It looks good. I'm not gonna put in the social icons at the moment. This doesn't make sense for me at this point. I'm gonna put this later on, either in the contact us, find us, or at the footer, but I don't think it's really super necessary at the, there's too many links already at the hero. All right, so the second section of the website kind of tells a little bit about what they're doing. So I'm going to create a new section below the hero. This is super slow and it's driving me crazy. I'm going to call this shop. And I'm going to say it's black background, or at least something close to black, maybe like 333. Yeah. Now, because I've pulled this one up, the hero up, it kind of leaves a little gap here. So I'm going to give it this a negative down margin of 50 to fix this. See, fixed. All right, so because we've already started working with kind of the container of Webflow, which kind of limits the content to 900 pixels, and it makes sense. I'm going to keep working with this so that we kind of have an aligned grid throughout the website. So I'm going to drag a container into this section here. And you see this container is going to limit the content so that the website looks structured. I'm going to give, though, a little padding to the whole section so it's not completely fitting. And let's see about the content. So he put here some kind of an icon of a wine glass. Don't like it that much, but let's see if I can bring something nicer from Icon Finder for free. So actually, you know what? I think even this simple one kind of looks better than what's here. I don't know, it's just a full shape. I think it will be nice. So let me download this as SVG. I'm gonna open this up in Sketch. Just because I want to change the color to white. Currently at Webflow, you can't change the color of SVGs, which is something that I really want. So I have to change the color of the SVG here from Webflow, from Sketch, and then export this. But it's okay. I quickly export this as, let's call this white wine icon. All right, so let me bring this into our page. I'm going to drag an image here. All right, this looks pretty good. It's smaller, it kind of looks more nice. Let's center this. I see the whole thing is centered, so I can actually go to my container, give it a class that's something like center content. And then I'm just going to center everything. Okay, so this looks pretty decent. Now there are 3 blocks here, actually 4 blocks here. And I wonder if we should do them like 3 rows and one like he did, or even 4 rows. But in general, I think I'm gonna go with doing this using flex, not using columns. So let me show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create a wrapper that's gonna hold these 4 kind of short stories or whatever they are. I'm gonna call this, let's say, stories wrapper. And then I'm just going to bring another div inside that I'm going to call a story box, for example, and duplicate that 4 times. And now I'm going to style the stories wrapper. So I'm going to say make this a flex and do something like center them. I'm just going to say expand you guys. So, and for the whole wrapper, I'm going to give a little bit of distance from the icon. So I see now that perhaps four in a row will be a bit too much. So how about we do kind of like, let's say that we give them 33% each, and I'm going to tell the wrapper to wrap children. So this makes like, okay, so this actually, if you're not used to Flexbox, it might be kind of a brain fart what I just did, but once you play around with it, you can do like crazy complex layout like I just did in seconds. So now we have 3 boxes and the 4th of them is kind of underneath. It looks pretty good. Let's give them a little bit of spacing. No, I can't add the spacing because I just made them 33 exact. But I'm going to add padding to them. And I'm going to add a little bit of margin so they'll be spaced out. Okay. So let's start by putting in the text into them. So each of them will have kind of a headline and then a little bit of text, and some of them are also going to have a link. Here in this case, I think like the headline is too close in size to the text itself, so it's not very clear. So I'm just going to put kind of let's add 2 text elements, and for the whole actually center content, actually for the whole shop, I'm going to define the text as white, right? So I've duplicated the text element. This one is going to be story title, and this is going to be story text, and let's start styling them. So this one, instead of 14, let's make it 25. And yeah, change a little bit. Line height, a little bit of spacing. And you know what, just to make this kind of nicer, I think we can go with, because we have the line element here in the logo and in the hover states here. Oh, wait a second. Oh, I just discovered that this does something really weird because it pushes everything down. I wonder why it does that. Oh, I understand why it does that. Let's add kind of like to this. See if this will still do that. Yeah. I've definitely built the structure of the of this navbar completely wrong. Well, let's try to fix this right now. So this changes the size of the whole bar, which pushes everything down. So why is it pushing everything down? Let's do this. This is in a relative, this is in absolute place. Okay, perhaps if I change this into absolute, this will not happen anymore. Again, it seems I've fixed it. So again, you just play around until you fix the problem. A lot of time the display mods are pretty confusing, or the positioning. But again, this is because I'm not some CSS master and I'm doing things more visually. Alright, so what I wanted to do here is kind of give it a little bit of kind of an underline. I think it might be nice. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, I like this underline, but let's see how this looks with real text. So I'm just going to duplicate this div 4 times to see, because I don't want to duplicate the text. So 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's duplicate the text now. So I'm going to do this with a link. There's something weird here. So I have also two links here, which I'm going to have to kind of create a link out of them and give them a style. So I'm going to call them inline links. Inline links. Perhaps I'm going to give them some kind of a white winey color, some kind of a yellowy color, not greeny but yellowy, because I'm not sure I want to give them an underline. Don't really like the underline here, so I'm just going to do it this way. Or perhaps, let's see if I give them kind of a top and bottom underline. So this is kind of design on the go. I usually do this in Sketch to stylize the elements before I start playing with them in Webflow. Yes, but the links actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to make this as well. And call this inline link, so it immediately gets the same style. Now, one thing I'm considering is whether the line should be the whole way through, or just this way. Not sure. What do you guys think? I think I'll go for the shorter lines, yeah, I think it looks better. Alright, so I actually haven't created kind of a hover state for this links, but maybe, hey wait, this one is not a link. Is it a link? Yeah, it's a link. Yeah. Probably I have to connect this for it to work. Alright, so this area kind of looks fine now. Right, I'm going to continue to this section. Yeah, I think before and after, I think it looks better. I'm going to continue to this. I'm going to do a little quick toilet break. I'll be back in a second. Alright, so let's continue to the next section. This section, the About Us section. Oh, one more thing I want to do before we continue. So, first of all, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is responsive. So this works fine. Let's see how this looks. This also looks fine on tablet. This looks okay on mobile. Okay, this one starts to get a bit tight. So how about we do it instead of 33%, I'm going to do it 50%. And it just breaks into 4 columns. That makes much more sense on mobile. And total mobile, yeah, on total mobile I should probably do something like logo image, because this is like way too big. Let's give it like 150. Yeah, make this something like this. I'm gonna check this on mobile later. This one should definitely be kind of like 100% width, and then it breaks into 4. This looks much better. But perhaps I should give the container center content a little bit of padding to make sure that it doesn't stick to the edges. Basically looks good on mobile. So you see how beautiful this is? I don't have to really fix everything, just everything kind of scrolls down from desktop to mobile, and it was just like a second to make sure that it changes the way I want. This is because Webflow includes the logic and the structure rather than Wix, which is just complete visual. So what I wanted to do, I want this link La Tienda to scroll to here. So I'm going to give this a name. Let's call this shop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this link, and I'm just going to set it up to scroll to shop section. And let's see how this works. So I click here, it scrolls here. Wonderful. Looks good. Let's add the next section. and call this about. So the about, I want to give this background color. I also want to kind of make this 100%. So let's do that again. I'm going to say this is 100% vertical height. Boom, it gives it the space. I'm going to put a background image, upload. It was glass A. Just check out how many people are watching. I haven't checked anything here. Can't see this. Oh, there are like 50 people watching. Hey guys, I have completely did not check out what's going on up until now. All right, let's continue. Do a cover, so this looks perfect. I'm wondering if I should add kind of a, no, I actually like this, this white box here, so I'm gonna do exactly the same. But again, in order for this to be centered, I'm gonna give this a display setting of flex. I'm gonna center it. Then I'm gonna drag in a div block, which I'm gonna call a white box. White box. As you can see, it's already centered. Just gonna give it a white background color. Boom, gonna give it a little bit of inner padding. So the content that I'm about to put there is not gonna be tight to the edges. And I'm gonna give it a lot of padding, like 50 pixels. It will make like a nice spacious. All right, this is again, this is kind of like a big title, so perhaps I'm going to actually use here a heading of kind of H2, perhaps. Actually, it looks perfect. I don't even need to style this. Just going to copy the text from here. I'm going to bring the text block here. I'm always not so sure about such a long text and make this, well, let's see where the paragraph goes. It's compasión, after compasión, so compasión. This is where this actually has to be another paragraph. So actually I should have brought in a paragraph like this. That would be the right way to do that. So actually let's do that and move that from a text block into a paragraph. It's just more kind of the right way to do. So because I don't want this to be edge to edge, what I'm going to do here is in the white box, I'm going to define kind of like a maximum width. Let's try 500. That looks pretty good. So should it be centered? Yeah, I guess it's got more whiny thing looks when it's centered. I'm gonna give this, I'm gonna remove the top. I'm gonna do here 20. I actually like this small little line. It looks fancy, so I'm gonna add this really quickly using a div box, which I'm gonna put here in between. I'm gonna call this black divider. I'm gonna say it's gonna be maybe 25 or 20 pixels width, 10 pixels height. I'm going to center this. It should be more like 35. And give it something like a top border of 2 pixels. So here's what I did. I actually just created a box that is in this size. Doesn't need that much of a padding down below. And it looks great. So yeah, this looks really nice, I think. The text here is bigger, but I think it looks much more nice and sophisticated actually when the text is smaller and it's the same size that the text is here. It looks much more fine. So this was a really easy section. Let's see how this kind of scrolls down into responsive mobile. So up until mobile, it looks fine. Okay, this could be a bit better. So how about I put, because I still want to show the box, so the about section, I'm going to add an inner padding to that of maybe like 15. So it makes it like a box, but I don't need as much inner padding in the white box, so I can really get rid of that, a lot of it. So this makes much more sense. In mobile, again, that was like super, but what I'm thinking about right now is that I put the height 100, 100 vertical height, but that actually might be longer. So how about I change that to a minimum? Instead of doing height, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to do a minimum of 100 vertical height. And then if the text is longer on mobile, it's not going to limit the space. All right, so this section is now done. Pretty happy. See, after that, he put kind of just a section with photo of bread and then the contact us. And in the contact us, he actually put kind of two forms, contact form, but also subscribe to our mailing list. So what I want to do is I'm going to add the subscribe to mailing list here, and then I'm going to do the contact. I think it makes much more sense. This won't be kind of unused space, and there won't be two forms in one. Quite actually nice. It fixes it, and then I reveal it from below. That's nice. So let's stick to that. So what I want to do here, I'm going to darken this a little bit because I want to put the form on this, the subscribe to mailing list form. So basically here he kind of imported directly from MailChimp because this is what he's kind of subscribing to, but he couldn't design it. But I can just use a simple Webflow form and connect it to MailChimp. So let's see, pulling this form. No, I did a mistake. I just pulled in the form, but you see, because I didn't put a container, it's not limited to the space inside, and it doesn't look like in the grid of the website. So I'm going to put a container. I'm going to do here. I'm going to center the container within the section. Again, using the amazing flex thingy. The container. Yeah, okay. It automatically gave it a name because I didn't give it a name. It's okay, I don't mind. So let's put the form inside. What is he collecting? Only emails, right? Okay, so I'm gonna do, I don't need the name because he's not collecting the name, but I do need some kind of header here. So how about I use this header, story title. I think it will be good around here. Let's put it in here, right on top. Wait. Let's take a look at the structure here. I'm going to bring it to the top of the form. It's not white because I didn't give this whole thing a white color. So do I need the name label here? Not sure I need the name label. So form wrapper, it is too big. So I'm going to limit this even more. Perhaps it's something like this, 500, so it would fit. So let's take the form, call it form style, limit this to 500 pixels and center this. I'm actually going to center the whole thing and going to call the text to be white. All right, so this looks better. I'll actually, you know what? I can make this even smaller. It doesn't make sense to put an email this long. I'm going to use the text from here. Okay, so obviously 350, we'll do something like 450. Nah, I don't like this. Okay, this makes sense. This makes sense. So here you have enter your email address, correo electrónico. It's right here. Correo. I used to speak Spanish, but I haven't spoken in so long that I don't really remember much. Let's call this form button. I might use that for the second form as well. I'm going to give it a little bit more top padding. I'm going to allow it to be 100% width. Yep, perhaps 5. And submit. Instead of submit, subscribi. Subscribi. And please wait. Let's do please wait. Espera, por favor. Right? Alright, so basically we have the form here. I'm going to connect it to Webflow, to MailChimp. This is super simple the way you do that. I'm not going to do that right now, but the way that you do this is you go to the form, form settings, and you can just put here an action, which is something that you copy paste from MailChimp, and then you can connect it to your mailing list. So let's check this out. Again, looks pretty good. Yep, I'm pretty happy with this. All right. So let's do the contact section right now. This is actually what we struggled most with on Wix because it's kind of like, I don't like the fact that it's blocking the door here, the entrance, but no matter where you move it, it doesn't look very well. So you know what? This can actually look pretty similar to this. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to copy paste this whole block and let's copy paste this whole block and just change what we need to change, right? So first of all, we need to change the background color. So I'm going to add another style on top of this about that I'm going to call contact section. Only thing, it's already the size, already looks pretty good. I only need to kind of change the image. Just put another image shop. Gonna set it to cover. Okay, so again, I don't really like the fact that it's kind of blocking the shop entrance here. But how about if I kind of make this a bit bigger, or I just want to move the image a little bit. Yeah, I think it looks a bit better. Or perhaps, what if I do 220, 1900. Then I can move this. Okay, so what I actually did is I changed the size of the background image. Right, this looks better. And then I can actually change the position. And here's what I want. You still get the sign of the shop here on the right, which I like. Very nice. You get to see the entrance and a little bit of the tables inside, and you get to see the little bottles of wine. So this is a great positioning. And I wasn't really able to do that over at Wix, and it pissed me off. Okay, so this is perfect. Let's just copy the text. So how about, yeah, we do a paragraph for each one. Right, and another paragraph. Right, and this should probably be a link, right? This is email, so let's make this a link. I'm just going to call this a link, but I want to style this black, so I'm going to call it black inline link. And for this one, I'm just going to give this, yeah, an underline. Yeah, so this is okay. And perhaps if you hover over it, it's going to be blue or something. So let's do hover. Let's pick cool blue. All right. Again, just because I hate making animation with hover without animation, I'm going to add here animation. Scroll down, my friend. Why won't you scroll? For some reason, I'm not being able to scroll here. All right. Oh, that was a lot of hustle just to make this. Oh, and since I already know the link of this, I can just copy this and define the link here as an email link with this email and subject, mail from website. All right. So this is already a proper working link here. Not sure why it turned into blue right now. Well, it should be kind of black. All right, so we put in the details. Social icons. Yeah, I guess we should, bring in the social icons. I don't have them on, so let me just quickly steal them from here. Let's call them Facebook icon, Insta icon, Maps icon. Right, so to put them one next to another, I'm going to wrap them in a div. So I'll take a div here, call them social icons wrap, and then to make them linkable, I'm going to put in a link block, and inside the link block, I'm going to bring in the image. Right, so let's see what happens when I duplicate this 3 times. Okay, it doesn't look very bad. I need to space them a little bit and give them a little bit of padding, so let's call this social link, little bit of padding, little bit of top margin. That looks even more, you know what? Oh, and obviously I have to give this to everybody so that they'll be affected. Social link. Alright, so now I have to only change the images here. Alright, so now let's do the links. This one is the Facebook link, copy paste. I'm going to go to the links, edit the link, insert a link. I'm going to do open in a new tab. That's done. Instagram, copy paste. Alright, so the links are now working. They're set up properly. I can already preview this. See if I go over the Facebook and click, it will open the Facebook. So that has been set up. Let's see what else. Alright, so now the hours. So those are a bit more paragraphs. You know what? I don't think this should be 2 lines. I think this is well enough. And after social wrap, I'm going to give this a little bit padding to push from below. So, horario, let's pull this in. Alright, that looks fine. You know what, I'm gonna just bold the horario because, yeah, I think it will look better this way. It makes much more sense. And the only thing that's left to do right now is add this contact form, which is also pretty simple. We're gonna drag another form. And by default, the forms in Webflow send the email to yourself. So I'm just going to have to change this form to connect to MailChimp, but this one is automatically already do the thing that they want to do. So here they have name, email, and message. So here there's name, wait, email, and I'm going to grab a little here text area and add this to the form. Now, for some reason, this one is, oh, it's max of 500. So you know what? Instead of doing this max 500, I'm just going to define it as 500. And that will also affect this. So you see this now looks much better. It does look much better. I'm not sure I need all this padding down below, but I think this has to do with the form wrap. So let's give this contact form wrap. Yeah, I see it comes with bottom padding, which I don't think we need right now. What we do need is kind of like perhaps 10 or something like that. And then this submit button, we already have a button, form button, so yeah, it works. I'm gonna give a little bit more space between the form and the hours here, operation hours. So maybe 20. Okay. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, so this looks really nice right now. I'm wondering if I should give this a little bit of a darkening, because here it's white on white. There's perhaps lacking a little bit of contrast, so I'm going to do something pretty gentle. I'm going to add here the solid color, but super, super gentle. Yeah, just to pop this out a little bit, you see? Without it, with it, just a little bit of pop. Yeah. So nice. Oh, I have to change here to contacto. Espera, por favor. All right, so that's basically the end of the website. He has a little bit of kind of a footer here, which I think I'll use the footer to put in those links and this. Oh wait, what I forgot to do is check how this looks on mobile. So looks good, looks good. Even this looks good. You see, I didn't even have to do everything because I've already defined the styles to work here. So this one already mobile ready. That's awesome. So let's add a little bit of footer section down below here, the end of the page. So let's call this a footer. I'm going to make this a symbol as well, page that I do on this website. I'm going to say, make it kind of gray, make the text white. I'm going to put in a little, not a section, sorry, I'm going to add a container so that everything fits within the grid. And I'm going to add a little bit of, so wait, let's start with the social icons. Let me just download those links here. I have the social icons in black, but I don't have them in white, so this will be white. Okay, maps, white Facebook, white Insta. All right. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to take this whole social block that I've created here, social icons wrap. I'm going to paste it in here because it already contains everything that I need. I only need to change the icons to white, but the links are already connected, they're spaced pretty well, so that was a simple copy paste. So this is white Facebook. You know what? They're bigger actually. So I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna make them a bit smaller. Not that smaller, but I think 40 pixels was too large. Place image. So what I want to do here is for this container, which I'm going to call, you know what, in the footer, I'm just going to give a little bit of top padding. All right, and maybe bottom padding as well. All right, so this looks good. You know what, for this, let's call this social footer, because I don't want this to take the whole space, and we're just going to want this exactly, because I want to put here the kind of the copyrights thingy. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit of text element, text block. Paste it. Let's call this footer text. Footer text. Tell it to not be a block, but an inline and flow to the right. Give it perhaps 10 pixels of top padding. So this looks fine. I think I'm going to make this smaller. Nobody really cares about that. Perhaps 15. Okay. So that looks like a decent footer. Let me create a symbol out of this whole footer so that I can reuse this. Footer. Oh, and let's see how the footer handles mobile. Let's see if it works in mobile. Let me just... So this works. This works. This doesn't really work. So I think that on mobile, we can break it into two lines. This can be display block and even centered. Yep. And this can also actually be block and centered, but no need for the padding and for the float. Or perhaps 10 or 15. Okay, so this looks much better for the mobile footer. That's great. Okay, so we are 1 hour and 20 minutes after I began the project, and we have the main kind of page of the website fully ready. This is actually the hardest, I think, page from the whole website. So what we have left to do is like 2 or 3 more simple pages and then translate the whole thing into an English, like create a duplicate of the website. So let us continue. So I'll fix the navigation later on at the end. So the second page is a super simple page of the wine tastings. Oh, I don't have this image. I think I didn't export myself this image. Let me find it. Not sure I have this image. Perhaps my friend didn't send this over, so I'm going to quickly steal this image using this nice Chrome extension. It's going to give me all of the resources from this page. Oh, wait a second. Sorry for this being super slow, because I'm streaming, then my internet is super slow, and it's hard to work this way, but it's all for your streaming pleasure. Right. So this Chrome extension called CSS Peeper lets you see, all the settings of this website, and actually also the assets. So I'm just going to download it from here. Ooh, for some reason this image was PNG. 3 megabytes PNG. Yeah, that must be why it's been taking long to load. I'm gonna create like a lighter JPEG out of that before I upload it. Right, so I don't really need, well, I can crop it a little bit because most displays are kind of widescreen. So I'm gonna crop it a little bit. Let's resize it. Yeah, size is actually pretty good. So change it from 3.5 megabytes to 200K. Call it tasting and tastings. That's all right. Right. So let's create a new page. Call this tastings. Tasting. I'm gonna create it. First thing that I'm gonna do is bring in my header and footer. So I'm gonna take from the symbols. I'm gonna bring in the navbar. I'm gonna bring in the footer. All right, and between them, I'm gonna add a section. It actually wasn't added between them, but I can set it up from here to be between the navbar and the footer, and this section will be, let's call it tasting section. Or perhaps, you know what? It's better if I use the hero that I created for the home page and just add to that, right? So that's hero. It's already full screen with an image. I'm just gonna tasting section added on top of that. So I already have much of the work done because I kind of used a style that I've defined before. Just gonna change the image here. Let's see what we've got here. 1 hour and 30 minutes, 45 people watching. Thank you guys for watching, and hello. I will check the comments soon or later on to say hi to all you guys. What? For some reason, I am not seeing the image changed, even though I know it to be changed. So I think this is a minor bug. I'm just gonna go to project setting for a minute, go in and out of the editor of Webflow. Sometimes happens to me. So reload the designer. So I'm in tasting. Nope, background image still didn't change. How about we completely remove this and add a new image? Perhaps it's in the assets already. Yeah, tastings. Okay, seemed to work now. Perhaps it was my bad. This image though, it's definitely need a little bit of darkening on top of that to make everything looks a bit clearer. Perhaps even more than that. Yeah. Right, so let's see what content we need here. So basically it's kind of 2 columns, or perhaps, yeah, since we didn't put any logo in the navbar, perhaps we should put in a little logo. This doesn't look very well, obviously. So there's a little bit of text here, a price, and then if you want to contact, this is the worst contact form I've ever seen, and I'm not sure what a Facebook button does here. Perhaps it's a mistake. But let me do that. Let me create kind of a div that will be a content wrap, and that will be centered for the whole screen. So let's call it tastings wrap. Inside, I'm going to add a logo, the logo, but a smaller image, smaller version, so it wouldn't look exactly like the homepage. What happened here? Asset manager. Not pretty sure what happened here. Let me give this a style. Let's call it tasting logo and give it a like 150. All right, so we have a small logo here, and then we kind of want 2 columns. But why not use this white box that we already have in other section, and that looks pretty good. This white box element, this one. I feel it will be kind of more consistent if we use the elements that we already have. So how about we just take this and add this right here below. Well, this becomes a bit too high, but we'll fix that in a minute. So the tastings wrap, let's center this. Let's give the logo a little bit of padding here. Okay, so, oh, here's what I forgot to do. Do you notice that the fonts are wrong here? That's because I forgot to give the body of this page the body style. Boom, this is fixed. All right, so let's just copy the text and then we'll play around with this. So wine tastings, a little bit of text. Completely no need for the contact link, no need for the telephone, no need for the social icons, no need for this. Okay, so already this looks better. And the contact, we have name, email, message. So the form is correct. By the way, I'm going to have to change. I didn't change even the homepage here from English to Spanish. Nombre. Correo electrónico. Mensaje. I think this is how you write it, right? Enviar. Yeah. So this still doesn't look great with the logo on top over there. Well, perhaps it's not that bad. I'm just going to add like a bit more spacing here. The thing about this layout is that it's... No, it works. It works. Unless you have like a small screen. If you have a super small screen, then it gets kind of fucked up. So I know how to solve this. I'm going to do kind of a minimum height for this tasting session. So the height is not going to be, it's going to be a minimum of, for this we're going to set the height to auto, minimum of 100. No, minimum of like 700 pixels, not 700, 900. Yeah, 900 makes sense. So yeah, okay, so perhaps the only thing that I should have changed was adding the minimum 900 pixels, so even if you have kind of a small screen, the logo is not going to get cropped. So now it actually looks pretty good. And I think this page is done. Oh, I forgot to add the price. Funny. So let's add a price element here. let's call this price. And let's do this a bit bigger. Yeah, this looks fine. Better than this, I think. Perhaps I'll space it out a little bit. Okay. All right, so now that we have this page completed, what I want to do is connect this. Oh, but what I forgot to do was, now that we're not in the home screen, we actually don't have a button for the home screen. So how do you go back to the home screen? Do you click the logo? Do you need a home button? Bad thinking on my part. Yeah, so let's just add a link. Let's just add a link. That'll be probably the responsible thing to do, even though there's too many items in the menu here, and I don't like this. I'm gonna add them another button here that's called home. But what I wanted to do was actually connect the link to the wine tastings here to the page of wine tastings, and of course, because this is a symbol, it's going to be affected on all pages where the navbar element is working. So now we can go to wine tastings, and this works. Okay, something that I did not expect. When this page is selected, kind of represent this as a blue link, which I don't want to happen. So you see right now you're styling the current page. So not sure why this is white. It should be, I want this to still be white. Perhaps though, I will add kind of the yellowish color as a button, as a something like this. So let's see this right now. So now this is the home, it's kind of selected. Yeah, I should do this probably longer, just like the other ones. A bit bolder. So you know what? What I'm thinking right now is that the positioning here doesn't look very well because this is too close. Here we got some spacing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the flex positioning, and I'm just going to say, you can't center them though. Or no, let's, you know what? Let's keep the flex, do this align to the top, but the logo here, I'm just gonna give it like 60 padding or 100 and something padding, margin, sorry. Yeah, so now it looks, yeah, it makes more sense. It's not like vertically aligned completely, but visually I think it looks much better. So let's connect the home. Not sure what they wanted as a home in Spanish, but since they used home, I'm going to use home as well. Alright, so home. Yep. Alright, so now this works. You see the home selected here. And we got 2 pages down. This one just scrolls here, which is nice. This one goes here. So now we have to work on the menu page. menu page looks right now. So you see right now you don't have a navigation, you have to go back to the home and then click the menu, which doesn't make any sense. So this page, he actually created it in bilingual, for 2 languages. And I'm wondering if I should do this exactly the same, or I should use the CMS to create separate pages. I think this is actually what I'm going to do. So let me take a quick toilet break and I'm coming back and we're going to build this menu page with the Webflow CMS. All right, and we are back. So again, this page right now is the same page for both English and Spanish. I don't think this makes sense, so I'm gonna create this for each language a different page. But I want to use the CMS so it will be super easy for him to say add an item and then have the item name Spanish, item name English, price, and then add it to the relevant category. And the categories that I see here is wine by the glass. Those are not really with lots of items. Then there's cheese plate, sandwiches, salads, and desserts. So here's what I want to do. I want to create the database structure for this page. First of all, let me create a new page. This time, how about I duplicate this page? So I already have the styles for the body and the whole structure ready. So let's call this menu. And obviously I don't need this. I don't need this. And this one, the tasting section, I'm just going to call this menu section. He actually did it on a white background. I think about why not doing this again on an image? Why not have an image as well? What images do we have ready? So perhaps, you know what, I'm not going to use an image, but I'm going to use some kind of a gray color. So let's remove this. Not so sure. Okay, I know what I want to do. I'm going to give it like a really dark background, but I want to put the menu in some kind of a section here. And not a section, sorry, inside of a, inside a white container, so that it kind of looks like a page, a menu page. So let's call this menu container, and it will look kind of like, we'll give it a white or like super light gray, really light gray. Okay, but just like the menu section, this should be aligned to the top, and then head 150 or so. Sorry, heading to the section. All right, so I will start with creating the database and then putting the content inside. So I will create a new, it's called a collection. So the first collection that I want to do is the categories. The categories, so we have wine, we have cheese, we have sandwich. All right, so let's just start off. This one is categories. And the only thing that categories will have is category name. No, this, so let's say this name will be name Spanish, and this one will have name English. English. Name English. Right, so that in each, let's close these off. So these will kind of change between the English and the menu. So categories have kind of two parameters. Spanish name and English name, create a collection, URL. I'm not going to have to use this, but Webflow wants me to enter this. Generate fake ones. No, I'm just going to do them myself. New category, so the first one is Vino por copa. Vino por copa. And then wine by the glass is the English name for this. Create category. Next category that we have is tablas de queso and cheese plate. Next one, we're going to have sandwiches, which perhaps it's the same for both of them. So I'm just going to use the same for both of them. Then we have ensaladas, which is salads in English. Then we have postres, which is desserts in English. Desserts. All right. So now that we have the categories ready, we can start putting in the items. So let's start a new collection that's called menu item. And menu items, what they have is they have a name. Again, they have a name in English also. Name in English. They also have description. So the description can be, again, plain text description. Now I'll add here Spanish. Add another one for description English. Save field. And they have price. They have a price. And the price is probably the same for both English and Spanish because they're not going to just rip off English-speaking tourists, right? All right, so now that we have the database ready for the items, it's time to start putting in the items. So let's start from the top. We have this wine by the glass, so this one is called Espumoso, and it's sparkling. It doesn't have a description. Some things have description, like sandwiches. Some things don't have, like the wine. I didn't do any of them actually as a required field, but actually the names should be required. I'll change that later on. So I don't put in description. I don't put in description. I do put in the price. So now we have the first item ready. Next item. Well, I don't think I'm going to put in right now the whole items because they're going to take me a while and I'd rather finish the design. So I'm just going to put a little bit, one from each category, just so we can see it in the design. Now again, the reason that I'm using the CMS is that he'll be able to really quickly add items and without any need to kind of change the design here. The design will be updated automatically. So let's do cheese plates. Oh, one thing that I forgot, I'm a bit silly. To the menu items, I need to know which category it is, right? So I need a reference to category because I want to know where to place this item. So I need to refer the category. And this field is required. And also the name English. This one is required. This one is required. How do I make this a required field? I'm not sure. Never mind. So let's do save collection and then go back to those and pick a category. Those are Vino por Copa. So save. I need to know obviously which category the item goes into. So to create another menu item, this time for the cheese, let's call it individual. Might be the same for English. This one is tablas de queso. Save. Again, I'm not going to create all of them right now, so let's do one sandwiches. So this one is the BLT. This one is the English name. Oh, so you know what? It's actually just the name. And it's without, so I actually don't need the description. So I thought that I need descriptions, but now when I look at it again, I see that he actually puts the description inside the name. I can change that, but you know what? Let's change that because I actually think that I'm gonna design it a bit better. So okay, so now I've actually used this. This is going to be sandwich. This is going to be the price. Nice. Let's do a salad. So again, here he's not using didn't use the description. He just gave the name to the salad. We'll see. Perhaps I'll encourage him to give names to the items. But for now, let's roll like this. So this is salads and desserts. Yeah, I'm going to talk to him later on and encourage him to give a different name and descriptions to the items so it will actually look better in the final design. It's pretty important to actually kind of define the structure of a website together with your client, but you just ask for help and I'm helping him we haven't discussed this much, but this is something that we probably should have done together before I started working on this. Alright, so I have some items to begin designing with. Gonna go back to the pages, gonna go back to the menu, and let's start doing the design. So let's add here some kind of a header for this menu. Let's do H2 menu. So he actually made everything centered. I'm not sure that I want to do this. So I'm going to try to do the menu kind of aligned left and see how that goes. I feel like it's nicer. heading. And start bringing in some texts. So because this is the Spanish menu, I'm just going to copy the Spanish texts. See that he has double spacing here. You know what? I actually think that this is perhaps too wide for this. I'm not going to use a container for 900 pixels. I'm just going to use my own div instead, because I used an element that's called container that already gets kind of that gets the properties from Webflow, and I want to custom do this. So this is menu container. Just going to move the things into this new div. Just going to call this menu container. And I'm just going to give it a maximum of perhaps 550 or 650. Yeah, I feel this will be much better than the 900 something. So perhaps I want to bring in the little divider that we did. So let's do black divider. Yeah, I know what this one we're going to center it. All right. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty good. So here we need to start putting in the category and then some items. So let's see what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull in, because I want to use the database, I'm going to just put in here a dynamic list. The dynamic list will be items, but I don't want to bring in all the items. In this specific case, I'm just going to do, from the setting, I'm just going to filter by category. That query category exactly equals to, the first one is vino por copa. Okay, so what I did now is I said I don't want to see all the items, I just want to see the items in category, vino por copa, save, exactly, and then he only brings in the items of this category. So, first of all, I need to bring in the category name. So let's bring in another dynamic list. This time, I want to see only the categories. And I want to see only the first one. So actually only the category that is name equals to, or that name equals to, yeah, vino or copa. What we have here, vino. Let's do contains, perhaps. Yeah, equals vino or copa. Save. Okay, so now I have here the category name, which will change on the English menu between Spanish and English, and then I have the items. So in order to show them, I'm going to bring in a text inside. And this text, get text from category name. So here we have the category name. Let's give it a style, perhaps 25. And just a little bit of spacing here. Perhaps an underline. Okay, and then for the menu items, what we're let me just do 7 here. And all right, so the category name looks fine. Let me put in the category, the item's name and price. So I want to bring in text element that will be taken from the name. So we have the item name here. You see already I have all the items. And then I want another text that will be the price. So now as you can see we have 2 elements, because there are 2 wine elements with different names and different prices. To make them, to style them, let's start by styling them. This we'll call item name, and this I'll call item price. I'm going to do both of them in lines. I'm going to do this one, float it to the right. I'm going to do, for the whole dynamic, call this item block. I'm going to give it a little distance. And unload padding, and then, well, perhaps we'll do like 5 padding and then put in like an underline, but a light colored underline. I'm going to remove this underline here because I don't like it, and I feel like we're starting to have too many lines on the page. Also, I feel this should be a bit tighter, so maybe 450 or 500. 550. Okay. Now it's okay. So we have a first category ready. Actually, it will be super easy to just duplicate the rest of the categories. So let's put all of those inside a block so that I can call this category block, so that I can just duplicate this and space them. Put this inside, put this inside. Okay, so now chip. Alright, so now let's start changing the categories. So this category, we want this. I'll put those inside in a minute, but I just want to do the, tablas de queso. So this one will, the dynamic will change the name of the category to different category, and those items, this dynamic list, instead of category is vino pro copa, this one is going to be tablas de queso. So save. So now you see immediately, we didn't give a price to the individual queso. That's something that we need to do. Immediately it brought the item from the different category. So forgot to put in the price. Back to the menu page. Alright, it's updated. Let's do the sandwiches. So sandwiches. Now the nice thing about this, I just want to show you, when I'm going to do the English version, all I have to do here is change the name from English to name English, and it will change here the category to wine by glass. And all I have to do here is change the item name from this text from name to name English, and everything will turn here into English. So changing the menu to an English version would be super easy because how we've built kind of the database collection. So we have the sandwiches, so now we need to change here this dynamic list to load the sandwiches. And so we have only the BLT. Now this one has, the sandwiches has kind of name and description. So I want to bring in the description as well. Let me put in another text block here and define it as description Spanish. So it actually looks pretty good. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do the item name. Let's call this item title to make this a little bit bolder. Wonder why this doesn't work. So let's see if I change this color. But for some reason, I'm not being able to change the item name class. Okay, so now I changed everybody's, but you know what? This actually makes sense. This looks pretty good. All right, so we're still missing the ensaladas and postres, so let's duplicate this 2 more times. This one's going to be postres. See what happens here, because this menu is still on the 100% vertical height, it's limiting, and this goes above this. So this should be probably minimum height auto. So yeah, now it's fine. So basically we have the menu set up. I'm missing some text such as the minimum order, so let's put in some text here. What else am I missing? So those categories, which are kind of not really categories, they're just plain text. Okay, so this is another text that we should enter after the wine by glass. So let's add this after wine by glass. And then wine flight. So now I'm going to add 2 more titles, which are actually not database categories. It's like hard-coded text. So, but I'm still going to use this text block didn't actually rename this. Category name. Oh, so only this has category. Everything looks fine. Okay, so now I'm going to add these by hand. The reason I did them by hand is because they don't have many items in them. So no use to create a database around them. It's just a waste of time. Let's call this after 1p. Finds. So this is actually just a text. And tastings. Alright, so basically we have the menu ready. It's done, it's built with the CMS. Duplicating this and turning all of it into English will be super easy. So I've also got rid of, I'm not going to do this download PDF because it makes no sense to me. If you have the menu here, why do you need to download it as PDF? So we have the home page ready, we have the menu ready. Let's connect the menu button. To the page menu. All right. So now we have the menu ready, we have the home ready, we have the wine tastings ready. I'm wondering if the wine, perhaps this page should also have kind of a background image because it looks weird that this page alone is kind of without an image. So let me just put like a really soft image in the background. Something that we've used probably already. So maybe this image, but really soft, like under the solid color. That is like, yeah. So now the image is like super soft, but at least it does look like as part of the website, because otherwise it would look really weird. I'm not sure about, I chose gray here rather than white, but you know what, perhaps I should do white because I have the white box element. So just gonna do the white box. Yeah, I guess it looks better. All right, so what I have left is to create the page for next events and then create the duplicate of the website in English. So right now they have here nada por ahora, they don't have upcoming events. I guess I should use the CMS for the events as well, because yeah, it will be easier to put in stuff and edit them. But I want to talk to him about this. So here's what I'm going to do for now. I'm going to duplicate the menu. I guess I should discuss this with events. I'm gonna use the same main design of the menu. I'm gonna just write no events at the moment and ask him what kind of, like, what information he needs there, and then maybe create CMS for that as well. Let me just delete all of those categories. You know what? I have a better solution. And that solution would be to put in an element of rich text, which means that he'll be able to just edit this. Here I want to add a minimum of 100%. So he'll be able to add here images or text or whatever he wants. At the moment, I'm just going to leave this as nada por ahora. But he'll be able to do here whatever he wants. And yeah. So let's just connect this. Right, so the only thing I have left to do is duplicate the whole website and change the language to English. It's a lot of copy pasting to do, and I'm actually super hungry. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a lunch break, and I'll probably, it's a good place to stop the live stream. So if you guys are still here, I see that some of you guys are still here. Perhaps I can do a little bit of Q&A. I'm gonna grab something so I'm not like dead because I'm super hungry, and then we can do a little bit of Q&A. So let me just put this here. Let me just hide this. So I'm gonna grab something to eat, and then I'll come do some Q&A with the 40-some guys that are here at the moment. Love you guys. See you in a second. I get to this point in the day where I'm so hungry that I can't design anymore, I can't work anymore. Overall, it's been 2 hours, 15 minutes, and I'm like 90% there, so I'm happy with this. Let's see who guys are here. Calvin is here. Hey, Calvin. T-Bits. Hey, been loving the vlog. Started using Webflow. That's awesome. George. Hey, man. Martin. Hey, man. Hello from Argentina. Martin, if you're in Buenos Aires, you gotta go check my friend's shop. Should be pretty awesome. I haven't been in Argentina for a while. Hey, Nicholas from Germany. Who else is here? Tim, homepage looks crispy. Thanks, dude. Will you upload this on your YouTube channel? Yes, it will be posted later on, automatically. Got this faster done. All right, guys. So before I'm going to grab lunch, what's the time in Israel? It's like 12:30. It's lunchtime for me. Have you ever been to Eastern Europe? Yes, I have been to Romania. My family is from Romania. Hey, Jason from UK. Hey, Oliver from Berlin. What's up, guys? Hey, from Thailand. That's awesome. Hey, man. Okay. I see that there are no like demanding questions, so I'm gonna stop the live stream for now. I'm gonna finish the website a bit later on, and this video will be posted. There'll also be like a regular vlog. Hey, from Tokyo. That's super awesome. From Moscow. Oh, guys, it's so great to see all of you here. Don't worry, Calvin. You can watch this later on. YouTube probably will be taking some time to upload this. Hey, Sebiu, how are you, man? What's up? So awesome to see you guys live. What time is it in Australia? So Oliver, for the multi-language, I'm not sure how long you've seen this, but I've built the database for the CMS in both languages, so the manual will be super easy to duplicate. I'm just going to choose the English strings. For the static pages, I'm just going to create a duplicate and change the text. That's awesome, you guys. Hope all of you have a great day, and I'll catch you soon. Peace out.